So how's it going, motherfuckers? A little special Thanksgiving video here. So somebody alerted my attention to this on Facebook about how the overall consensus for Justice League. Uh, Talk about justice. Let's put an emphasis on that particular word. So, I made no bones about it when Batman versus Superman came out. I didn't care what the critics thought. You guys saw I got so many dislikes on those videos. I did like two videos, and then later that year I saw Civil War, and I talked about it. And people were coming at me, making like I was a DC fanboy, even though I like Marvel. The guy with the Spider-Man tattoo, they were actually coming at me, making like I was a Marvel hater. Even though I ran through these points where I said I'm a dedicated Spider-Man fan, I didn't like Civil War. All the fanboys came at me, and the only argument they could come up with was, oh, it was a lowly rated film, and you're trying to go against the grain, you're trying to get views, every single thing in the book. But no, and of course, there were people that agree with me, and they said pretty much what I was trying to do. It wasn't really to create controversy, it was just stating my opinion, giving a review on YouTube of a movie, and then going on later that year to see another movie put out by a different company, and just saying I didn't care for that. I preferred another movie to that movie. I didn't like how it was handled. Even though I'm more on the side of the movie that I didn't like, I actually, was more interested in seeing that film and how it turned out, because I was always more of a Marvel supporter, and Spider-Man was in Civil War. I was excited to see how that was. Like I said, I wasn't too crazy about the whole shoehorned Spider-Man inclusion at the last minute. I didn't like that he was CGI to hell. Um, and I voiced some of these concerns in my trailer reaction. This all took place earlier in the year. And well, early last year, actually. Earlier last year. And, this was more than a year ago. So now we have Justice League, and I'm looking, the critics once again destroying the film. It came up a little bit. You got a 41% on there, and so most of the critics had negative views towards this film. And everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I mean, like, seriously, it's almost like a joke at this point, because it's like, do you realize what you're doing when you give a film such a negative review, like a resounding negative review? You're saying that this film has no redeeming qualities. You're saying that this movie is trash, that nobody should spend their hard-earned money on it. You're saying that this is simply a movie that is just worthy of just turning your nose up at it and just not giving a damn about it, and just, kind of letting it drift off into the distance. And thank God I am seeing that people, even though I'm seeing a lot of detractors for this film already, I am happy to see that a lot of people are basically giving the proverbial middle finger to a lot of these critics. And it's the top grossing film still. It's number one at the box office. And I'm looking on Rotten Tomatoes right now, and I am seeing an 83% liked it audience score out of 108,000 people. And basically what that averages out to is a 4.2 out of 5. That's pretty damn good. And to be quite honest, I wouldn't even give the movie that high of a rating. Like, if I were to rate this film, I'd give it a 7, 7.5 out of 10. I'd say more like a 7.5 out of 10. Like I said, an enjoyable film, but not by any means a great, fantastic film. I'll be quite honest with you. I enjoyed Batman versus Superman more. That's just my personal opinion. I enjoyed that film a lot more. Actually, to be quite honest, not like a whole hell of a lot more. But if I had a preference, like if I had to have just one of these movies, I would have went with Batman versus Superman, to be quite honest. I like more of the emphasis on Batman and Superman, and like I said, now the best story in the world. Were there things that I would have changed about Batman versus Superman? Of course, but I thought that it was a pretty decent film. Didn't really have a lot of issues about it. Many people did, but really, that's their opinion on it, and that's you know, we all have different opinions. But the thing is, what I get quite leery about is like the critics elevating the Marvel movies like they're some type of great Godfather masterpieces. I'll never forget the analysis of Civil War. What a great story! This is, like they made like it was the Godfather of uh, of of all superhero movies. Like there was no way of beating it. And when I saw those reviews, I mean, when you see great critical reaction to a film, especially when you have critics that are completely clueless to most forms of pop culture. They don't know their asses from their elbows. They would not know what they're really looking at. And I remember back in the day, I remember looking at reviews before the whole huge, massive Marvel Cinematic Universe and the comic book films really blowing up. I remember when we used to have our Sony and Fox Marvel movies. Like, we'd have our Sam Raimi Spider-Mans, our Bryan Singer directed X-Men films. I remember the critics just wouldn't get them. I remember they rated most of them pretty poorly. They didn't really understand them. I remember the first Spider-Man. I remember Roger Ebert gave that movie like 2 stars. Roger Ebert, legendary director. Also, I would like people to point out just how people don't get it. They don't get it at all. And I'll explain this. Leonard Maltin, who probably second to only Roger Ebert, a legendary movie critic, he gave Back to the Future like 2.5 stars. And then he also ripped into Back to the Future Part 2 for, repeating scenes from Back to the Future, from the first movie. And actually rated Back to the Future Part 3 like 3 stars. He gave Back to the Future Part 3 the highest rating out of all Back to the Future films. Now, I'm just saying, most fans of those films will tell you the first one's good. Certain people might tell you the second one, it might be a close tie, but I'd say most people would say the first film is the best. And most people would say their second favorite is probably the second movie, Part 2. But most people would say Part 3? No, that's where I was like so surprised when I looked at that. And this is the thing. It's like you might say, Brad, well, why do you care so much with the critics thing? It's not so much that I care. It's just that there's a reason why we have critics. They're supposed to be out there, trying to save us money on these films. And so we go to the critics because they're supposed to have a higher knowledge of these films. And, critics have been a pretty strong determining factor on how much money a movie makes. And they're just getting it wrong time and time again. And the thing is, I've noticed this with a lot of video games, and I've noticed this just about anything that's rated music, albums, movies, TV shows. If the critics are pretty harsh on something, most fans pretty much follow suit. They will follow in lockstep with the critics, unfortunately. It is very rare that there is such a big divide, and I'm seeing that with Justice League. And I'm just saying, it's like, I guess when you have a movie that's so big, like a movie with such iconic characters like Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman all teaming up for the first time, and this Justice League this has been a movie that has been, green lit and canceled numerous times since the 90s. I mean, this is a movie that they've been trying to get off the ground for a while, and it has finally seen the light of day. I mean, this it took like 20 plus years to get this movie made, and it is finally out. So there was a pretty good chance that most people were going to go see it. The critics might have succeeded in probably having a couple of people pirate this film, buy it on bootleg, try to find it on Showbox or something like that, trying to find a way how to see this movie. Um, and it's pretty hysterical that they don't care. I was pretty sure that with Batman versus Superman, most people were attacking me because they were like, look at this guy, look at this schmuck on YouTube going against what the critics say. Most people hate this movie. This guy's just going against the grain just so he could get some attention here on YouTube. Their words, not mine. And it just is not so. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say, all these examples I'm trying to give with Leonard Maltin and Roger Ebert, it's just like it's just an opinion of a critic. One person. If they don't like a Marvel movie, or if they don't like Marvel, or say they just don't like Spider-Man, say they just don't like Batman, and they might just rate that film down because it's their personal opinion. At one point in time, to be a critic, it once meant that you were supposed to probably take what you think most people would enjoy, and kind of apply that to your review, to your critique of the film or whatever it is that your subject matter is. But I don't think that's what it is anymore. And see, that's the problem about reviews, because it becomes personal opinion, personal taste, and we're all individuals. Remember that. It's like we all have different ideas. Like I'm saying, my personal preference and opinion is that Civil War was not a good movie, and that I did enjoy Batman versus Superman more. I enjoyed Justice League more. I didn't care for the story, but really, it's like I'm not going to reiterate that stuff. I have plenty of material here already on YouTube that you can go watch, and you'll see, because this video will end up being an hour long if I get into that once again. And I'm not going to sit here. The long and the shortened version of that very long explanation was this: I didn't like the story in Civil War. I thought that it was pure BS. I didn't like how they portrayed Iron Man as just kind of being a crony of the government, just siding with them after having all those 3 movies of him being a renegade playboy. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me, and it seemed very lame. And I said, like, such a major character like Spider-Man was just shoehorned in there at the last minute, and I just didn't like it, being a Spider-Man fan. But of course, many people just kind of sideswiped all that stuff that I said, put it to the side, and just kind of said that, oh, because I enjoyed Batman versus Superman and I'm putting down Civil War, well, that means that I'm a DC fanboy. Even though I have praised so many Marvel movies on this channel, I even did a video talking about how much I enjoyed even Spider-Man 3. That is how much of a die-hard Spider-Man film fan I am, and just a Spider-Man fan in general. That I saw through all the flaws in Spider-Man 3 and actually think that it's a pretty good movie. I do. I think that there were a lot of redeemable factors about Spider-Man 3. It was entertaining. It made me laugh in some parts. Was Venom terrible? Would I have picked a different actor? Yes, like I said, a gravely flawed film, but an enjoyable one nonetheless. And I didn't really get a lot of enjoyment out of Civil War. It was a very long movie. It was 2.5 hours. Justice League clocked in at under 2 hours, which I was pretty pleased by. I was like, wow. And the movie went by pretty fast, and that's how I knew that it was a pretty decent film, because I didn't really sit there bored. It made good use of its time, but what the content of the film wasn't amazing or mind-blowing, and I said there were ways that it could have improved. It shared the same problems as Civil War in some respects, as not having a villain that was that really drew me in and really got me interested in that aspect of the film. And so it made Justice League great, where these iconic characters coming together for the first time in film history, and that's what I really liked about it. And I thought that everybody pretty much played their role pretty well, but they could have done a lot better of a story. Um, they and the villain had a lot to do with the story, so that was something they could have improved on. So it's not like I'm just saying, like, Civil War is so flawed and these DC films are just picture perfect, and it's just a ridiculous argument. And the thing is, like, why you're getting upset at me is simply because you like this, and you know it's good. That's your opinion on it, and you just can't stand. You think that everybody should think it's good. But the fact of the matter is that there are going to be many people who are not even making YouTube videos about it because they're scared. Because there's a lot of people here on YouTube, and I gotta thank the people who say it, and they tell it to me a lot. The people who really kind of understand what I do here on YouTube. It's just me pretty much saying how I feel, and I really don't care about getting negative comments. If I did, I would have left YouTube a long time ago. Um, I remember the first time I put up a video on YouTube, I did it with a Marvel poster behind me, and it was a political video, and somebody called me a basement dweller, and he said, look, I have a Marvel poster behind me. If I was so sensitive and I got triggered so easily, don't you think I would have left YouTube the moment somebody said that to me? No, I continuously went on here on YouTube, and I've said it for years and years. I said I don't really care if people disagree with me, because my mission here on YouTube is to say what I want and get my voice out there. And if people get entertainment out of it, that is the goal. I'm here to entertain. If you get a laugh out of it, then I have succeeded here. It's for my entertainment, for your entertainment. And it makes me feel really good when people really appreciate what I'm trying to do. And, it's like, and when people don't appreciate, I just kind of shake my head and move on. I've got, like, over 1,000 videos here on YouTube. I have so much content on here, and you could spend literally days, weeks, months watching these videos, and you will see that there is a common theme in each and every one of those videos, and that is simply that is my opinion, my unbridled, unedited, raw opinion that is not controlled by anybody but my own mind. And that is something that a lot of people won't do. They fear the people unclicking the sub button. They feel that, like, if they lose subscribers, they're gonna lose revenue, and they're gonna lose views. They're gonna get dislikes, and that hurts their channel. And the thing is, like I said, I don't want people like that on my channel anyway. If you can't watch a video and you can't appreciate an opinion and just be entertained by hearing different views and being interested in that, then first of all, like I said, I don't even understand why you're even watching a video that is contrary to your own beliefs. It's just going to upset you. If you're that easily triggered, don't go looking for that type of content. Is it really going to make you feel better typing an angry comment underneath a video you disagree with? It's all, I'm all for discussion. Like I said, if you want to post a negative comment and it's constructive and you really want to see a flaw in my argument, like I said, I've combated people like that in the comments all the time. And the thing is, what is so funny, it's over a superhero movie. We've gone through this. Last year it was a war. I say bring it on. Like I said, I'm pretty fair on here. There are very few people I have blocked, and you could you could see all the comments, so many negative comments still up there that I allow to be shown, because the thing is, if you're going to make a fool out of yourself, I might as well let the whole world see it. I mean, I might as well let others see it, and and pick you apart. Because why am I going to delete it? Because I don't like it, because I disagree with it? No, there's a lot of things in this world, obviously, that I disagree with or don't like, but I can't remove them from the planet. So let the comments stay as well. I feel right. I've said it time and time again. I'm not a fan of censorship. So, let the cards. If it's harassment, if you're just spamming the hell out of the comments, if you're giving me a super hard time and it's just, nothing credible at all, then I'm probably going to have to block you and probably delete those comments because, that's just, there's no place for that. Like I said, if it's really getting out of hand, that's probably the only time. It's been times that are few and far between where I've had to do that. So, like I said, if you can't appreciate the opinion, and here we go. I mean, I'm happy to see this because it kind of better suits my argument when we have a clear divide here. So pretty much just to wrap things up here in this video, we have a clear split here. The critics don't know what the hell they're talking about, and the fans actually went and saw the movie and formed their own opinion. And that's exactly how I wanted to end this video on that specific topic of forming your own opinion and why that's so important. Forming your own opinion and this is so apropos that it's on Thanksgiving. This is something that we should really give thanks that we have a human brain capable of forming an opinion. What a beautiful thing that is, and why this particular way of thinking is so important. I mean, can you imagine if we weren't capable of forming our own opinion? We'd just be drones. We'd be empty-headed. I mean, it would look like like that old George Lucas film, like THX 1138. We would look all the same in just a community of just basically drones, clones of one another. And if we did have an opinion, it'd probably all be the same thing, or we just all be indifferent to the world. But we are blessed to have all these different opinions, and we even have this platform here on YouTube, which is greatly flawed in a lot of ways and continues to be flawed. But at least we have this avenue, this medium to discuss these things, and we have the beautiful comment section. Video responses are harder to do now. Remember when you used to just be able to have a video response to your people used to take advantage of that, and they used to do spammy tactics, so maybe that's why they took it away, but I'm very disappointed. It used to be like challengers could enter the arena. If you had a video and an opinion that someone disagreed with, you could post that video response, and sometimes people would make you, they would have to approve it first, but I thought that was a great feature here on YouTube, and I think that's a form of YouTube censorship that they took that away, unfortunately. But like I said, this is like, so you have the grand masters here, the critics, where they sit on their golden throne where their opinion is everything. They are paid for their opinion. And there's many people here on YouTube that are also paid for their opinion, right? These videos are monetized. Many people monetize their videos, and they're paid to give their opinion. People watch their opinion, and and they get paid for it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's great because people get entertainment out of opinions. People like reading reviews. And it's fun to have a mishmash and discussion of ideas of what we liked and what we disliked. The only problem is when people start a freaking war over it and they try to change each other's minds about these different things and try to say like you're an idiot or you're a moron. See, this is where it's crazy. And then we even get into like attacking people's looks, attacking such petty things because we disagree. Like really, like attacking somebody's looks over an opinion. It's like you really feel you're going to win an argument that way. I mean, like, that is the weakest argument. You are pretty much saying from the offset that you failed to really have a discussion when it has to just completely dissolve into a plethora of poisonous barbs and stupid put downs and just foul language. It is just, the lowest form of communication here on YouTube. Well, we're all just here to have a good time. Somebody has to just come along and try to ruin it to the best of their ability. So, like I said, here you have critics that, they're hoping that their opinion really matters. And I think we've kind of seen that. critics just kind of going overboard. And that's the problem that I really had. Why I said that, like with Batman versus Superman and Suicide Squad. Like here, you have some films that have a lot of redeemable qualities. Are they amazing? Are they like so awesome that we can't stand it? 10 out of 10 masterpieces? Not really, but they're not really stinkers. I mean, it's like if you think that those movies are bad, that's your opinion. You're allowed to think that. If you have like reasons why you feel that those movies are the worst ever, you're allowed to have those opinions. And maybe I could start seeing it, but calling somebody an idiot or a moron or ugly or something like that, it's just that's not a reason to say that the movie is bad. It's like I'm ugly because I feel that this movie is good. It's like when you really laid out there how stupid and quite mentally handicapped that sounds. I mean, you're like coming into an argument already showing that you're of a weak mind and that no one should really listen to your opinion. It's not going to hold a lot of weight when you have to resort to those tactics. But like people are now saying, they're saying to the critics, well, we disagree with you. You're giving these opinions and we're supposed to follow them. But it's like, you wanted me to miss out on this entertainment because you said it was so bad. And I think that's what people are starting to see now. It's that like these critics are out of touch. Just like a lot of commenters here on YouTube, they have opinions and they're very out of touch and they like to steer people in a certain direction. And that's just not going to happen. I mean, seriously, like I said Justice League didn't have an amazing plot, didn't have a wonderful classic, Godfather plot. It wasn't, that type of masterpiece, masterful cinematic directing. It's just, it was a good movie with, a good amount of action, some interesting, iconic characters, and it was a fun movie to watch and to go to and to be entertained. And they all did it in what was thankfully less than 2 hours, which I did like that it was probably one of the shortest superhero films in a long, long time. And it's just like I didn't feel it was as bad as the critics were saying. And obviously the critics also feel this and there's many people out there that feel the same way. They don't feel the same way as the critics. They think that that is just complete nonsense what they said. Just saying that it was such a bad plot. Yes, like I said, the villain could have been improved, where there are things that they could have done with the characters to kind of, make them better. And the thing is, in Civil War, what did they really do to build up on those characters to make them great? Have them hang out in the bar and try to pick up Thor's hammer? Oh, that's great character development. There were many parts in Civil War where I felt that there were so many scenes that could have hit the cutting room floor and stayed there for good. In Justice League, not so much. I mean, I kind of felt like, everything kind of had a place, And if anything, I would have liked to see more of it. I think that they could have increased some of the time dedicated to certain characters like Aquaman. Maybe, I don't know, they could have maybe sacrificed certain things, but I kind of would have to see it again to really kind of pinpoint those exact moments. But they weren't that obvious, and maybe that kind of works in the movie's favor. So, but it's a flawed film, but a good film. And it seems like many people are disagreeing that it is such a flawed film that it doesn't deserve your attention. That was going overboard, pretty much. When there are a lot more terrible movies, and I said that even in my Justice League review. I said if you want to see a movie where they kind of gave it a middle of the road review, Independence Day Resurgence. Are you really telling me that Justice League was better, was worse than that film? You're telling me that Independence Day Resurgence was a superior film? More people gave a positive review to that, or a middle of the road review. I mean, also that, why not give it a middle of the road review? Why not give it an average review? Why say it's terrible? Like I said, you're like depriving people of entertainment. you're kind of, you just for whatever reason have something against this film, and you just gave it a bad review. You maybe had a bad day or something, but it's just, it doesn't make a lot of sense to kind of just tear a movie apart and not even even say anywhere in any of these reviews by all these critics. They don't even for one moment say, well, maybe certain people would enjoy this film and I'm just kind of not getting it. They don't even say that. So I don't know, guys. But like I said, we're all entitled to our opinion. And we need to stop listening to these critics because a lot of times they get it wrong. They think they know it all. They think that they have that superior opinion, that they have the ability to control people to think a certain way. And I think in a lot of ways, we're kind of turning away from that. We don't have to listen to these critics. Yes, they are a valuable tool in saving us money by, not having to check out these forms of entertainment, spending money on them because sometimes they could be expensive, like games, and certain times with movies, like seeing a 3D movie is like over $20 sometimes. I saw Justice League at a smaller theater. I paid $10 because I refused to pay those inflated prices. But certain people, like I said, will pirate it. They'll watch it online. They'll watch it on their phone, whatever. They'll watch it on their computer or whatever device that they're going to download it onto. So, but time is valuable. They're saving people time also. But the thing is, it's like you're telling people not to even bother with these films, and that is the problem. You're just telling people something is terrible, telling them not to waste their time with it, and they're going to possibly miss out on something that they might like because you're saying that you're the king of this profession of telling us what forms of entertainment are worth our time. Well, there you go, guys. Uh, there's not really much else to say here. The critics got it wrong. The fans clearly see that. They went out to go see the movie anyway, and they're giving it positive reviews. They're giving their own opinion on this film, and that's what's so important because you have these critics that are like paid and work for major publications and major media outlets, and they're like their opinion counts more. But really, at the end of the day, it's like, why should their opinion count more than the average Joe? I mean, really, some of these people go to film school and everything, but they didn't become directors. They didn't become producers. They're not working on any movies. They haven't worked on any movies. They wouldn't know what it takes to make a film and how to make a film enjoyable and how to draw people to the box office to make money on a film. So they don't understand any of that stuff. So why should we really listen to them if they don't have any insider info on how movies work? How would they really be experts on it? And like I said, it's all opinionated. Like you said, so one man's horrible movie could be another person's favorite movie. Did anybody ever think that? I'm sure not everybody enjoyed The Godfather. There's probably people who don't like it, who don't get it, who probably think that it's overrated. And there's, I'm saying there's also been people like, for example, James Rolfe went out there, was pretty ballsy, and said that Citizen Kane is overrated. And I have to say that I actually agreed with James Rolfe. And I was so happy to see there was another person who shared that opinion. Because when I took my film course in college, I like, I liked it, but I wasn't like wowed by it. And I thought it was overrated because of all the hype going into it. Even before the film was switched on in my class, I thought I was about to see one of the best films ever made. And that just didn't happen. Anyway, guys, like I said, it's all up to opinion. People are going to have different opinions when it comes to movies, games, and shows and music. So, with that in mind, guys, yeah, just think about that. See, like, critics got it wrong. They are paid. That is their job to actually tell you if something's good or bad. And they got it wrong because many people are disagreeing with them. Anyway, think about that, guys. Leave hate comments. Leave loving comments. Everything is appreciated here on this channel. Anyway, guys, until next time.